Okay, round two, because I got interrupted. Um, this is going to be a collective reading, so all signs, and I will try, I think if I have time, I'll do each individual sign at the end, just a single card pull. Before I was interrupted, I saw like rapid movement forward. Felt like positive developments because then we saw this hope card. This is the Psychic Tarot. Okay, it's technically an oracle deck, but it has tarot overlaps. Balance is coming up. Okay, so Libra energy, justice. Feels like there's an imbalance, which obviously we can sense that collectively, but you know, apply that however it may resonate individually, okay, as well. But again, it feels like there's at least support to rebalance, okay, to make again positive shifts, positive developments forward. So that feels really good. I was gonna do like a 5-card layout with this, but I don't know if I have time. Okay, awareness is coming up, right? Upper chakras, paying attention to your intuition, your crown, your third eye, right? I might go ahead and read for this card from the guidance book because again, it is an oracle. So I often find like with the oracles, I like reading from the guidance book because it can give you a little extra insight, shall we say. Okay, so again, awareness, and then we'll pull some tarot cards. Again, I'm keeping this one kind of quick because I have somewhere to go. And that's what someone was calling me about. All right, so it says this card is one of the key reminders that you already possess all of the tools to guide and direct you in your life, whether it's wisdom, intuition, psychic skill, creativity, self-motivation, love, willpower, physical ability, or just pure courage. They're all a part of you. Once you learn to tap into and use them, you'll be amazed by the power and effect that they can have. You have the ability to allow the universe to work in partnership with you. Together, you can manifest change, whatever the desire may be, and bring about a positive outcome. This card represents your ability to create your own reality, to set ideas into motion and watch them grow. This card is often drawn when you are ready to switch direction, start a new project, or change careers. Now is the time to use positive thoughts, visualizations, and affirmations as you veer away from negativity. Knowledge is power and can lead to success. By having faith, keeping your willpower strong and directed, and by tapping into the tools that you possess, as well as calling on the magic from the universe, you can accomplish anything and everything you set out to do. And again, it has tarot overlap. So this is the Magician card, right? Which tells you that, again, you have all the tools and resources that it is that you need to create, manifest, alchemize, imagine, ideate, but like physicalize also, right? Whatever it is that you want. Such a beautiful energy. Again, I really like that sort of, there's a lingering sense of like hope, faith, optimism. And I'm not trying to sound like Pollyannish or trite. I truly feel that way. And I think it's important to hold on to that, right? To like literally never let that go, right? I'm not a particularly religious person. Those of you who have followed me for some time already know that. But I do think that there is kernels of truth, right? And I often think of, right, like the faith the size of a mustard seed, right? And again, that's what I feel like overall with that sort of positive movement forward, which again, y'all didn't see the card in this recording because I was like just starting the other one. Anyway, it wasn't even that long. But yeah, that positive movement forward, that hope card that we just saw, which I think is the star, if I'm not mistaken, it's the star of this deck. So lots of, for those of you who are more familiar with tarot imagery and symbolism, lots of major arcana energy, okay? And that positive movement forward is very akin to like the Eight of Wands, okay? Rapid changes and developments, incoming messages, which is why you pay attention to your intuition, okay? And like those changes are not just they're they're tangible changes, okay? They're not, again, it's like as above, so below, right? Which is what the Magician card talks about. It's not just change in the 5D or like in your mind. Like, yes, that is a part of it, but it's also very real changes happening on the ground. As the card alluded to, you know, it could be talking about any sort of area of your life, right? Okay. So we're going to use the Light Seers for this next part. Again, I think I'm going to try to get like 5 cards down. I apologize that I don't have a direct view of the cards. Sometimes I do film that way, but I just didn't set it up that way today. Okay. All right, I just saw the 8 of Pentacles, right, which is my work card. But it's more about like, you know, I keep hearing the word embodiment recently, and 8 of Pentacles is like a card of, again, work, but like practice, like doing something to the point of mastery. Sometimes quite literally, right? Like an artist, right, practices their craft. But also I imagine in the sense of like, who do you want to be? Or like, what world do you want to see? And how do you sort of practice that, right? Or I even just heard the word rehearse. How do you do that? Like, what do you do on a day-to-day that reflects that reflects the person you want to be, that reflects the kind of world that you want to exist? And don't overthink it. I keep getting that, like, so many of us, okay, which is understandable. It's part of the stress that we're all under. There's a lot going on up here, okay, in the mind. And keep in mind with that Magician energy, right? It's like, where it's that classic phrase of where your thoughts go, the energy flows, right? So it's super important to be mindful of your mind space, okay, and where your thoughts are, how you are speaking to yourself, speaking to others, right? What narratives are you putting out there as well as digesting, okay? All right. So the first card we have out, get out of town. I'm telling you, you can't make this up. This is the same card in a different deck. Magician, right? What was I just saying? The interesting thing about this Magician in this deck for me is that I often get a bit of self-doubt. That's what I was just talking about, right? Like, because again, the Magician tells you that you have all the tools and resources that it is that you need, right? But for some reason, just the way that this figure is situated, like posed on the card, always just makes me think that they question whether it's really possible or not, right? So there's a very strong energy sort of like, what say you, right? Or it's reminding me of how oftentimes when like there's self-sabotage involved, right? It can even be like, again, that same kernel of faith, right? A kernel of doubt can be that, right? So often when I ask people, well, what do you want to do? Like, what would you do in the ideal, right? There's a meditation I listen to regularly that asks you to think about that. What do you want, right? What does your ideal life, your ideal even day-to-day look like? And so often people will answer me and then immediately go, but, and that but almost completely negates whatever they said before. Not literally, but I just try to stress the point that, you know, you have to be super careful again about how you're using this powerful tool that's up here, right? Okay. I think I've belabored the point enough. Okay, so the next card we have is the King of Pentacles, Capricorn energy. It can be any other earth sign. I often get Capricorn, Saturnian energy, right? So for me, this is Spirit saying, this is about like lessons, right? And for a lot of people, and even collectively, karmically, right? So much of what I'm seeing in the zeitgeist, in the collective energy, which we're tapping into now, and individuals, is like the fact that this is sort of, and it sounds self-evident, it sounds obvious, but it's almost like there is this kind of coming together or like culminating of many events over time, long periods of time, whole lives, whole past lives, okay, if you subscribe to that kind of thing, decades, centuries, perhaps even of history, right? That kind of energy. Even like the figure is kind of like that aged, okay? But it's about what is the sort of wisdom to elicit from that experience, right? Historically, or even in terms of an individual narrative. What are the what have been the learning lessons essentially along the way, right? And then how do you implement that moving forward? It's also about, I will say, I don't know, there's something Spirit is trying to say here, which I was getting at earlier, which again, I wish I hadn't been interrupted so that you could have seen that first card, because it's like that red border from that positive movement card is really, the red is really sticking out to me here. It's about, I think I said to someone the other day, and something I say a lot, that like when you're deeply rooted, you can expand and grow more. That is, again, an individual lesson and a collective lesson, right? So much of what we're seeing right now, especially in the States, speaks to like root chakra trauma, right? There's, the roots are soiled, or I don't know the right word, but the roots are not strong, okay? And those of you who get it, you get what I'm trying to say. I could go into more detail here, but I won't, because that's really not the point. But the roots need to be strengthened, right? Which requires a reckoning with the past. I'll just say that. Queen of Cups showing up, okay. And again, getting like very much like root chakra work. And keep in mind, right, your root is like your base chakra, right? It's the chakra when you're in the lotus flower position, right? It's where you're seated, right? And your awareness is your upper chakra. And that's like the connection that I'm seeing. Like the more deeply rooted you are, the more ascension, right? The more connection you have with spirit, you have with that ability, again, to co-create and to manifest, even though that word is very much overused. Okay, so Queen of Cups, right? This is about honoring your heart. And this energy it always comes up a lot. I mean, I'm a water sign, so this is how I live my life. And it's really about, I mean, love is the highest vibration of all, right? So when we can move, right, from a space of love, that is not just like us operating in our highest power, but again, that brings out the best. Again, not to sound trite, but that's really how it's coming across. I'm trying to think, like there was another phrase that just ran through my head, but as soon as it ran through, it immediately ran out. But it was not in the sense of like a utopia, right? Because nothing's perfect. But in the sense of like, I don't know why, I just heard like it's sort of like this idea of like the collective good, right? Or like the public good, right? To use a political term, right? A growth in the public good, which is good for everyone, right? Intuitively, innately, many of us already know this, right? I'm sure for many of you, like, I'm not telling you anything new. It more so feels like I often say readings are reflections, or like looking into a mirror. I think it's like spirit's reminder, right? Like you think about when someone reminds you of like your potential, however, again, that might apply or land. It's like spirit's reminder of our potential, right? I'm thinking back on last week's, the past 2 weeks, the Artemis mission. And I feel like there was so much like jubilation around it, because in a way it served to do this, right? Like what's the possibilities, right? The possibilities. Okay. Ooh, and now we have the King of Cups. So, sort of counterpart here, right? It feels like spirit is very much talking about like this relationship with spirit, this symbiosis, whether it's through, which can be all these things, it have to be one individual thing, connection with nature, a spiritual connection with a spiritual practice or a religion, right? However that kind of lands for you. Certainly for some people here, this is talking about a literal counterpart, be it a romantic, person of interest or partner, or a really good friend, a business partner, someone of significance who either is already around you or could be coming in. Certainly we have heavy water energy here. I'll just call out the signs. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Gemini, and Capricorn, which I think I already said. Okay. Doesn't have to be those signs. I'm just letting you know what's out here. Okay. It's just so fascinating that just how this King and Queen of Cups is falling. Y'all can't really see it, but it looks like this on my board. Hold on, let me hold it up, with this card on top of it. That's how I'm sort of seeing it. Okay. The thing is though, like, it just feels like the King, I don't know, sometimes the way Spirit gives me messages are kind of weird. It feels like the King of Cups isn't always at the, which is the root, okay? In the way that, again, I'm kind of looking at it, it's at the root, it's at the base of the reading. The Queen of Cups is at the heart, right? With the awareness card crowning, okay? And I just felt like the King of Cups isn't always at the root. There's a sort of, you know how they say sometimes, like in partnership, like it's a whole 50-50 discussion, right? Which is kind of silly, but like, yes, things should be equitable, but sometimes it's like someone carries more weight than another, and that's okay, right? It's like sometimes we need a little bit more support. It can happen even in friendships, or again, it can happen in work sort of situations, right? I don't know. I'm just getting this message here of like being in the flow, like allowing sort of this, both allowing yourself to be supported and to be the support, and to be able to sort of flow in and out of those states. Okay. Mutable signs, water signs might have more luck with that. Okay. So crowning energy, High Priestess. Again, sometimes Spirit is quite literal here, right? It's very similar energy to that awareness card. High Priestess is all-knowing energy, okay? Pisces, Cancer energy, in terms of any signs that we might be talking about. Because, like, I did a card pull earlier, okay, on Threads, and there's a lot of, like, moon imagery coming up. We're talking about the moon, but pay attention to the upcoming new moon, okay? I'm not exactly sure when it is. I should know, but I don't. Pay attention to your intuition, okay? Especially, again, with all that water coming out and with the Magician coming out, right? The other thing about the High Priestess, too, I was saying this, like, literally in the comments earlier. It's about... There's energies of, like, discernment coming through here. And also kind of like knowing what to do when, what to say, like, and not overthinking it. I don't want anyone to overthink it. So I'm almost trying not to stress it so much, but Spirit is like, no, you have to, because it's about just paying attention. It's about paying attention, and it's about asking questions. Specifically, I mean, of like Spirit, or like clarifying questions. I'll give you an example, right? So I think I saw a post again on Threads the other day that was like something about a dream someone had, and if they should share it or not. And I was like, ask for clarity. Like, that's what I do anyway, right? If you receive some type of message, be it through a dream or otherwise, and you're not sure what to do with it, ask. Okay. That's partly why I'm here now, because I've actually been being told to go back to doing these recordings. Okay. On that note, I think I'll just go ahead. Like I said, this has gone a little bit longer than I had hoped, but hopefully this was helpful. And I'm going to do a card pull per sign. Music is very important for some of you, specifically like any kind of music, but like I'm getting sound bowls, binaural beats. You can try listening to subliminal videos, guided meditations, or like meditation music. Working with water, okay, whether you're a water sign or not. That could be speaking positive affirmations into your water, being near the water, water rituals, showers, baths, okay? So since we're in Aries season and it's the start of the zodiac, we'll just start with Aries. Aries, y'all have the Ace of Pentacles, could be talking about a new work-related opportunity or even just sort of a new pet project, creative project that you want to start, okay? Ace of Pentacles can also talk about like literal incoming, like something financial or material, like literally, like certainly it could be like a birthday blessing, right? However, it doesn't have to be right away, right? Because again, it can be about sort of planting seeds that bloom later. And keep in mind, we had that King of Pentacles coming up. So that's Aries. Taurus, you have death, okay, which is metaphorical death. It says here death and rebirth. Scorpio energy, which if I'm not mistaken is your sister sign, very transformative, okay? So you're going through a period or cycle of change. Could even last for a while, right? It could be something that you go into during your birthday season, but lasts even for several months. Okay, Gemini, y'all have the Ace of Swords, the truth, clarity coming through, okay? I often say to my air sign clients, and I've have been seeing this for Gemini lately, y'all need to journal, or you need to have some sort of meditative or mindful practice. Is almost a must, okay? 10 of Cups for Cancer, which is interesting because I feel like I pulled this card, not this specific one, but the same card, different deck for a Cancer, like literally earlier today. Really auspicious sign. Okay, this is penultimate fulfillment in terms of especially your home life or interpersonal relationships or connections, but certainly could be talking about work. For a lot of you, I get growth and expansion, perhaps like growing your family, growing a business, that kind of thing. Really nice. Leos, you guys have the Knight of Swords. Slow down, don't rush, don't worry, okay? This is what I was talking about earlier, like with sometimes when we self-sabotage, when we rush. It was much earlier on in the reading. Okay, so maybe go back and look at that part. You are not behind, right? Like you're right on track. You're not behind. And I'm also getting like, don't take on too much. Okay, don't take on too much. Could even be like mentally like overthinking things. Keep in mind what I said, like almost the entire collective could really benefit from definitely like meditative or mindful habits, period, but journaling especially. I might be biased because that's one of my favorites, but it is what it is. Okay. Did I skip anyone? I don't think so. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Six of Wands, success, victory, overcoming. Okay. For some of you, this could be about like, sometimes I get like applying for something that may be rather competitive, or it just could like competitive as in like there's you know, other people vying for it or something along those lines. This could even just be some sort of, you know, personal thing that you're going through that you're going to get over. Again, it's like you're going to it's gonna work out basically. Okay, for some of you this is because like this is a atypical depiction of the card. This can be about like doing something that's sort of publicly visible, okay, especially communicatively, is that a word? Like public speaking, singing, acting, doing videos, right? Okay. Libra, you guys have the Six of Swords, so this could be literal travel, movement, relocation. Even sometimes it's like changing jobs, right? Changing environments. It can also be like metaphoric sort of movement, right? Going from choppy to calm waters, having like sort of an overactive mind. Again, this is sort of a theme that's predominating here. And going into a more clear, calm, you know, state of mind, so to speak. Okay. Like I said, okay, and it came up for Geminis, it came up for Libras. Really interesting that y'all both pulled your energy, right? Y'all both got swords. Journaling's going to be helpful. Okay, Scorpios, Four of Cups. So there may be someone or something, Scorpios, that you're not sure about. There's a little bit of like boredom, discontent, could even just be with life, okay? Scorpio risings, I don't know why I heard this could apply to you. Okay, keep in mind this could be Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I guess I should have said that at the beginning. But yeah, Scorpios feels like it could be, you know, you're in sort of an evaluatory stage. Okay, Sagittarius, Four of Swords. You need rest. Some of you may literally be healing from something, okay? Some type of event that could even be like literally, okay? Like, you know, some sort of illness, a procedure that you had, but it could be another type of loss or something along those lines as well. Or you just need rest, okay? You're doing too much, okay? Capricorns, you have the Chariot, so also movement, Cancer energy, which is your sister sign, okay? And this also could talk about like relocation, travel, change of career or job. Also a metaphoric movement forward, okay? Which again was like the very first energy out. Okay, so that was Capricorn. Aquarius, y'all have Judgment, which is actually Capricornian energy, or can be. Okay, Judgment is like high level choices and decisions. I always liken it like if life gives us tests, this is the final exam. Okay, there is no right or wrong answer though, but it is about making a major choice or decision, Aquarius. And finally, Pisces, Temperance, Sagittarius energy, balance. You need to engage your creativity, Pisces, okay? It's imperative for like your inner sense of well-being. Okay, and I'm also getting something about like your sun and your moon. So maybe pay attention to, obviously that was your sun, maybe go look at whatever your moon sign is. I'm gonna close it down there. Hopefully this helped. If you wanna book a personal reading, you can do so through my website. No promises on how frequently this will happen. We'll see. Y'all let me know what you think. Bye.